Hi, good evening. Welcome to the meeting of the Somerville Historic Preservation Commission. It is December 17th, 2024, 6:47 p.m. I'd like to call this meeting to order. And before proceeding, let me read off our boilerplate, which is that pursuant to Chapter 2 of the Acts of 2023, this meeting of the Somerville Historic Preservation Commission will be conducted via remote participation. A recording of these proceedings can be accessed at any time using the registration link at the top of the agenda. And as is our custom, we'll do our introductions of who's on the screen in front of you, starting off with Ms. Price.
Hi, my name is Denise Price and I live in a local historic district.
Thank you. Vice Chair Kelly.
Hi, I'm Robin Kelly. I am the Realtor member of the commission and a historic homeowner in Union Square.
Thanks. And Mr. Shagnon.
I'm DJ Shagnon. I'm the landscape architect on the commission and a resident of Ward 5.
Mr. Falvey.
Hi, I'm Ryan Falvey. I'm a resident of Ward 2.
Mr. Coughlin.
Hi, I'm Dan Coughlin, and I'm a resident of Ward 3.
Thanks. And I'm Eric Parks, Chair. So to change my name, resident of Ward 3, historic homeowner and architect. And we have staff with us, Madison. Actually, yeah.
Hi, I'm Madison Anthony, and I'm a planner with Planning, Preservation, and Zoning.
We have some other staff who's sort of lurking in the background. We don't really do the full. Are any of them representing the cases that we're hearing?
The case is just mine, but Lexi can introduce herself to everyone since she's here.
Hi, I'm Lexi Payne. I'm the new planner at the PPZ for Somerville, and I just started like a month ago or so.
Okay. And so we have one case on our agenda, and I have to recuse myself from that because they're neighbors, people I know down the street. And so I'm gonna check out for this case, which should I read it into the record? I'll leave that for Vice Chair Kelly as well. I'm going to turn the reins over to Vice Chair Kelly, and if you all could just let me know when you're done, we'll finish up after that.
Great. Welcome, everyone. Pursuant to Chapter 2 of the Acts of 2023, this meeting of the Somerville Historic Preservation Commission will be conducted via remote participation. A recording of these proceedings can be accessed at any time using the registration link at the top of the agenda. This is our first order of business is a determination of historic significance. It's HP 24-000104, 42 Vinyl Avenue. The applicant is Morse Constructions. The owner is Alexandra Fitzsimmons and Sean Brand. The applicant is seeking to demolish an accessory structure constructed a minimum of 75 years ago. And so we have received the initial report from staff, and then we have a corrective memo because there was a misidentification on the original memo that we received or report that we received. So just to be sure everyone understands, this is the accessory structure at the right rear corner of the property. And do we have representatives here? I see Attorney Dash has joined us. Would you like to, is there anyone else with you, Attorney Dash, who should be unmuted?
Yes, Sean Brand, the property owner, should be here. While you're doing that, Attorney Adam Dash, 48 Grove Street, Somerville, representing the owner here, who's here tonight. Yes, staff did provide a corrective memo to the initial staff report, and that memo is accurate. To be clear, the structure my client is seeking to demolish is the accessory storage shed structure in the rear right or northwest side of the property, as is circled in the corrective memo, just so we're clear. No other structure, there's Mr. Bram, the owner, yes. No other structure on the site is being demolished, not the house, nor the rear accessory structure on the left side or southwest side. Those are not being demolished. So the accessory structure to be demolished is not really that visible from the street. It's in poor condition, and while old, is not original to the site, as stated in the staff report. Nothing about as such, the significant house remains, and this accessory structure is not significant. Nothing about the history of this site hinges on this particular accessory structure, which was built after the main house. The public way view of the property will not really change. The real significant structure being the house will not change. So other than taking down this structure, the owner asks that you not find this rear right or northwest accessory shed significant. And we're here if you have any questions.
Thank you very much. And should we open this to public comment?
Madam Vice Chair, this is Madison Anthony speaking. It does not look like anyone is indicating they want to make public comment.
Okay, so we will close the public comment portion of this matter, and we will go to commissioners. Who would like to share their thoughts? DJ, you're muted.
Thank you. I'd just like to ask for a clarification on the clarifying memo. There are 4 photographs in the staff report of the accessory structure, like that are close-ups. Are those of the correct structure then, or is that the other?
Yes, those are the correct structure.
Okay.
Yes.
So it's just which one was highlighted in the old maps and so forth that.
That's right.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
I'll share my thoughts. So while I'm typically loath to lose any older little structures like this, and this is a particularly sweet looking little shed type building, it doesn't have a tremendous amount of historic or architectural merit. I don't think that the city or residents would be harmed in the removal of the structure. You know, the real star of the property is the house. And so I'm less concerned about this very small structure in the back that's not of a particular architectural style, and doesn't seem to have any other notable features to it.
I concur with Vice Chair Kelly's assessment of the structure. Given that it's in the back of the building, it's hard to see from the street, and that it isn't associated with any architects or builders or particular architectural style. I think that I would lean towards voting against significance in this case.
I'm just curious to know whether the building has been modified at all. If you know, Mr. Brand, in recent years, I see that there's a window in it, and I'm just curious about the original intent, perhaps, and how it's being used now. It does look. I agree with Vice Chair Kelly. It looks like a cute little building there, but I'm also not seeing necessarily the significance of it. I'm just curious about whether it has been adjusted or how, any modifications have been made recently to it, or whether or not you feel that it may look as though it did perhaps originally.
Can everybody hear me okay?
Yeah.
We bought the house in 2003 and that skylight was there.
Okay.
We have not done anything to that building. That old door nearly fell off and we moved it, and I looked under a board there, and I was a little worried about those joists, which is what started the whole ball rolling on this project. They don't look too good, but that's aside. No, we haven't done anything to it.
So it was not originally also a garage, because I just see the placement of it in the back of the property. Looks as though it may have been in the location of what we typically see where garages are, but that
Oh.
doesn't appear to be the case. Is that the case, or?
You are speaking to the mix-up. The southwest corner of the property
Yeah.
does in fact contain a brick garage.
Oh, okay.
The northwest corner of the property is where the old shed is. The
Got
old
it.
shed is a wooden, the green wooden shed.
Got it.
The
Okay.
garage is a brick building.
Thank you.
We
Appreciate
use
that.
that.
Thank you.
Yeah, I would, having looked at it, I would concur with what everyone said. I think there's very little architectural significance to the shed itself, and it's so tucked away it barely impacts the. I mean, you can hardly see it from the street. I'm not even sure you can. So it doesn't impact the streetscape or the overall feel of things. It's very much tucked off in the back corner of the lot. I don't see any significance to it. I think I agree with the general consensus that seems to be building.
I agree with everything that's been said.
Great. If no one has any additional comments, I would entertain a motion.
I move that we find the accessory shed in the northwest corner? Is that the correct location? Not significant.
I second that.
So we have a motion proposed by Mr. Shagnon and seconded by Mr. Falvey. All those in favor of declaring the property not significant, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And we'll do a roll call. Ms. Price,
Yes.
Mr. Shagnon,
Yes.
Mr. Falvey,
Yes.
and Mr. Coughlin.
Yes.
And I will also say yes. So in terms of findings, would someone like to express?
Sure, I can take a stab at that. I would say that while the building does appear to retain much of its original form and massing, it does not, it's not importantly connected with any architectural styles, people, history, events, or anything of the sort. Has no significant historical or architectural significance.
And I would say, I would add that it also has no particular impact on the streetscape.
Yeah. I'd accept that addition.
Would anyone like to present a motion about the findings?
I will make a motion we'll make a motion that we find as previously stated.
I second that.
Great. So all those in favor of adopting the findings as articulated by Mr. Shagnon, please say aye.
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 Aye. We'll do a roll call. Ms. Price,
Yes.
Mr. Shagnon, Mr. Falvey,
Yes.
Mr. Coughlin,
Yes.
and I will also say yes. So thank you very much, and good luck with your project.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And we will welcome back Chair Parks, if he is with us. Come back.
There I am.
There you are.
Found it. Thank you. And so you finished all that. Let me just get the agenda back up here. So that was oh no, I lost my agenda. My agenda is hidden, haha. Okay. We have 3 orders of business, other business. The first is the member terms discussion, and Miss Anthony would like to start us off with that. You have something to tell us.
Right. So earlier this month, I think it was on December 3rd, if I'm correct, IGA sent out an email basically highlighting some changes they're making to the membership terms of boards and commissions across the city. If you didn't receive that, let me know and I can forward it to you.
What is
Okay, so DJ
IGA, Madison? Sorry, I'm not
Oh,
familiar with the acronym.
Sorry. It's
No.
intergovernmental affairs. Basically, it's like the staff at the mayor's office.
Mhm. No, thank you.
I don't recall seeing it. It's possible I just didn't find it when I tried searching.
Yeah, it's possible it also could have gone to your spam because I think it had to have been sent out to like at least a couple
Maybe.
hundred people. And that tends to trigger spam folder for me.
Yeah, that could be it. I'll take a look there.
I had to do a
Okay,
weird
but
search to find it because I didn't see it when it first came through, and then I went back and did like a keyword search, and it came from somebody like
The last name is Hutter, Hutter. And it
it
was
would have
sent
been from Kimberly Hutter.
and it was sent on December 3rd.
All right, I'll see if I find it, but if not, Madison, I'll send you an email and let you know.
Okay, sounds good. For those of you who haven't seen the email yet, I can summarize the gist of it and where it really affects you. So, starting in January of 2025, they're gonna be making some changes to the reappointment processes. If you serve less than 2 full terms, you will be asked to indicate your interest in continuing to serve, and you will probably be reappointed, but it's at the discretion of the mayor. But if you've already served 2 full terms, which I think is probably the majority of everyone on this board, they're gonna send out a future call for applications that's advertised to the community, and you will be welcome to reapply. And you're gonna be considered during the new application process, but I believe they're giving priority to new members of the community as long as they meet the criteria, which I think,
Down with institutional knowledge.
yeah.
I mean, we can't even get enough people to just fill out our current commission.
You're
And
saying
now
I
they're
might
gonna,
is that what you're saying?
Yeah, so
It's
the
like-
question that I have is whether and I don't know whether there are other commissions or boards like ours, but we don't have enough commissioners. There are many open spaces. So are they going to make us, those of us who are here, go through that process? Given that, like, do they want the board just to be empty and not able to function? Because we're on the edge in terms of, anytime someone has to recuse themselves because they're a neighbor or have some relationship with an applicant or whatever. So it just seems like unnecessary motions when there are 6, 7, 8 positions open on the commission.
Yeah, my thought process is that they're probably going to say that they're going to require everyone on this board to follow through with that process. But I'm wondering if maybe I should organize a member, like communicate with IGA and get a staff person from there to come meet with you all so you can ask more in-depth questions that I don't really know the answer to myself. Because I think this is a good idea in theory, but with basically all the boards that the planning department works with, we have certain criterias that are hard to find for membership.
Right.
And we don't get a huge turnout in applications whenever we like submit them to the public.
Mhm.
So I'm not really sure how they're gonna handle that part of the process.
I have a
So-
question.
Mhm.
So are there boards that are just like, have been the same people forever, and that unless somebody quits, they won't have, like, there aren't opportunities for new people? Like, how does that work? Are,
Yeah, I think the planning board is probably a good example of that, where we only really add a new like staff person whenever someone quits. Probably the zoning board of appeals too. And
Okay.
I get wanting to bring new membership and new representation to the boards, but with boards like the ones in that our office works with, they usually require some institutional knowledge. So when we do send out like a call for new members, we don't get a huge turnout anyway.
I mean, most of our recent years, we've hit just like right up to about the quorum, I think, of members.
Mhm.
Yeah, so it seems as though the recruitment piece of it has been a challenge, and I mean, I think it's great that the city's trying to get more people involved and engaged. I'd be very curious to know what they're doing to, to encourage people to participate, because I think the more the people that participate, the better off. But they seem to have been challenged with getting more people to participate in this group. I certainly know a lot of people have stayed around because they were needed just to be a body available for a vote. Not necessarily for many other reasons other than they're trying to support the continuity of the team, of the group. So
Yeah, I mean, I'm all in favor of this effort to, refresh boards and commissions and make
Yeah.
sure that the best people interested are able to serve. But it just seems like a lot of wasted effort and time, which we're constantly being told that the, staff doesn't have enough time and bandwidth to do the things that need to be done. And so adding this as just like going through the motions for motion's sake seems really dumb. And so I would hope that if, the whatever it is, IGD, whatever, IGA, whatever, that if they have a spreadsheet that shows the specific, positions that are available on the board. So all whatever 12 or 14, including the alternates, and where we have specific needs like the architect, the landscape architect, the realtor person, the whatever, show the number of terms that each of us has served and show the empty spaces and say, do you actually want to bother having these people put together things and then needing someone to review these? Isn't there better use of people's time? I mean, should the day come that we've got 14 people, then absolutely, like, cycle us through, great. But in the meantime, why are they going through this? It seems like an absolute ridiculous waste of time.
And I think Ryan and DJ have actually been here longer than I have. I don't think I've ever seen a full commission in
No.
20 years.
Yeah, I think I did at one point
Really?
early on. I remember back when we were meeting in the third floor of City Hall, there was a full commission, but some folks were not particularly active anymore.
Oh,
But I mean, there were plenty of times when I was there as person 9 and not voting because I was an alternate.
oh, right. I do remember that situation.
And so then I'd go home.
yeah, I mean,
know,
there
it's
has to
funny.
be a concern that there are people that won't want to go through the process again. Like,
Yeah.
don't want to do the interview thing again. And so they just decide not to. Now's a good time to quit. If you're asking me to
Right.
whatever,
Mhm.
then maybe I'll just quit. And if that happened on this board, we had 1 or 2, or God forbid more than that, then we would be,
Nothing gets done.
and then I don't think city projects can move forward
They can't.
without a commission. So how does that work? Doesn't really feel like a very
It's a
well
great
thought through
question.
idea. Yeah. I think I'd be
Absolutely.
interested in doing a meeting with them and just
Yeah.
trying to kind of voice our concerns and say, this is why we're concerned. Maybe it makes sense for other commissions where there's like 3 people that have been holding on to power for 40 years that I don't know about. And they just want to break that up. So that makes sense, but it feels like doing this kind of blanket policy across all boards and commissions across the city feels, like maybe not the best idea.
Unless
Yes,
the
so-
reapplication process can be distilled down to just filling out a piece of paper and emailing it to somebody.
Yeah,
But
I
if
mean,
it's like the whole sit down with an interview with a bunch of city councilors who don't even know what we do anyway, it's like a waste of my time.
And filling
stock
out an entire
questions.
application. I mean,
Yeah.
like, really?
yeah, I did have to, so I think the last time I was reappointed, or maybe it was a previous one, I did have to go through a brief interview with city council, but that was
Same.
fine. I mean, it was a little odd, but like, really? Okay.
We did, Eric, remember you and I did that together up at City Hall.
Oh, right,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, we did the
That's that-
same thing, DJ. Yeah, we met with one of the city councilors. Pre
And there was somebody then-
COVID, I think.
Yeah. And at that point, there was somebody, I don't remember who it was, who was known to be an enemy. I shouldn't say this, but
Oh, right.
there was somebody who's like, look out for that person. They hate the commission and they're gonna grill you for like stuff.
We
and they
didn't show
show
up that night, right? So we got
Yeah.
lucky. They said, "Oh, they're not here. You're lucky." Oh, really?
You know, it's funny on this Community Preservation Commission that I'm on too as our representative. They have a different system where you term limit out after two rounds. Like after 2 sessions, I or whoever can't be there automatically. And also we have advertised for 2 new people and we got like 17 applicants for those
People
two.
giving out money.
Yeah,
It's
because
good
that's
money.
it's a paid commission spot, right?
Well, we don't get paid. I mean, it's a volunteer, but we get to give money out. So I guess just the act of giving money away is
Awesome.
really appealing to you feel powerful or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
But
mean-
and there was one guy in that round who I thought would be a decent. Well, I should ask. I'll talk to staff about that.
Alright.
I had a recruitment idea for somebody.
It's also I mean, it's a commission that actually has some amount of power. I mean, the power of the purse does something. You know, we have review over changes to listed historic properties, and other than that, we can impose an 18-month demolition delay.
Right.
And pretty much everybody has an axe to grind with us for one reason or another.
Yeah.
Like we didn't do enough or did too much or whatever. But anyway,
Oh.
we're digressing. I think it would be
Anyway,
good to have
yes, I
someone
do
from them
meet
to
with
come
them.
talk to
Does
us.
sound productive. And I searched all my email accounts, Madison. I can't find that. So if you could forward it, that would be great.
Does anyone else need a new version of the email? Okay, I'll send that to you, DJ.
Maybe it was because I'm an alternate member. I don't even know.
Denise,
That might be it, honestly.
Denise, do you prefer to be chair or vice chair? It's just me and you left.
God forbid anyone near 50 Bow Street needs anything.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Right.
That's what happened. That's how I became chair. Was sort of basically everybody resigned all at once, and it's like, well, okay, I guess I'm it. Alan
Process
and,
of elimination.
yeah, like Game of Thrones kind of thing.
Oh,
Um,
gosh.
But that's cool. We could do that. Meet with them, and that way we're not just venting to poor Madison, who's the messenger.
Yeah, I have answers to some stuff, but
Yeah.
I don't know the full details of like when they actually plan to roll this out and how they're handling boards like ours. So I think it would be a good idea.
Yeah.
Okay. In that case, the next order of business, since we think we're done with that, is the minutes.
All right.
I did not look at them. I was bad. I'm just going to do a quick scan.
I had no comments for them.
Well, if Robin didn't, I definitely don't.
You may pick up on something that I missed.
No, I think, well, the person who's been doing the minutes is so good at it.
I know.
It's sort of like I get lazy, like, oh, they're always perfect. Yeah, I'm not. Does anybody else have any comments on the minutes? Or not have any comments?
Yeah.
All right, well then we could take a motion to accept the minutes of
So
November
moved.
19th. All
I
right,
will
moved-
second that.
motion by Vice Chair Kelly, seconded by Mr. Shagnon. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And we'll do the roll call. Ms. Price,
Yes.
Vice Chair Kelly,
Yes.
Mr. Shagnon,
Yes.
Mr. Falvey.
I'm gonna abstain. I was not present.
Okay, Mr. Coughlin,
Yes.
and I'll vote yes. Minutes are approved. Thank you. And I think the last agenda item is the CPC update. And we actually had a pretty long meeting this last time, and I had to bow out of it for like 40 minutes in the middle of it. But we were voting on the projects to give money to. And some of them came to us the previous meeting, I think, just for advisory review, but there were one or two that we didn't vote to move forward because we needed a little more information on them. But I think on the historic ones, the house on Pleasant Street, that's going to be like a affordable housing. I think that's the one where I had to leave in the middle of, but I think that went forward. What were the other historic? The child daycare down on Broadway, the blanking the name of the old church is going to get re-siding. That'll be nice. The other historic, the Somerville
So
Museum.
does that mean 50 Bow was denied?
50 Bow was approved, I think. Were you there for that?
Nope. I
Oh.
haven't heard anything about it.
50 Bow was either approved or I think that was voted on when I was zooming in from my son's recital concert at the New England Conservatory, so I had to leave.
Okay.
I'm
Yeah,
not
I haven't
aware-
heard anything from Roberta about it, so maybe that just they haven't given out that information. Were the applicants at the meeting?
I think that was one where I was not. I remember the discussion was favorable. Like no one said, let's not fund that.
Okay.
So I would say it either got passed or somebody said there were a couple projects where the cost estimate, the numbers didn't align on some of the open space things.
Okay.
And so they just
Right.
were gonna straighten that out. So if for some reason it hadn't been voted forward, I think it was probably an administrative thing, like we need to do that and then come back next meeting for it.
Okay.
So
Maybe
I
I'll
know.
reach out to Roberta to see what the status was.
yeah, I would check with her. I don't know why I'm drawing a blank about the actual vote. I think that was when I was out of the room or out of the virtual
Yeah, our
room.
project was very straightforward in terms of that. What we were asking for and why. So
Yeah, people liked it. I mean,
yeah,
anecdotally-
and the fact that it's not like a affordable housing or the community center, like you said, that was the thing that I was thinking.
um,
Maybe the commission thought, well, whatever. I'll reach out to Roberta and see what she says.
And I know one of the topics, just generally speaking, that we kind of bat around on that commission is with the historic preservation money, what are the limits? Like it seems pretty obvious, like you're in a cool the police station, the condo building on Bow Street and all that. What if I came looking for new windows in my house, for example? Like what is the threshold at which point
Right.
someone
Yeah,
Or-
no, totally makes sense. Yeah,
and I think there's this, unfortunately, it's just gonna be sort of a subjective process, no matter what. It's harder to write an abstract,
Yeah.
X dollar amount.
right.
And then one of the other things, which I think we wouldn't do there, is that often when someone gets money for a historic preservation, like that category, there's often a deed, like a preservation easement put on it. And I think for condos, it's like impossible to do that because it's like a whole bunch of units all together. But like if I think that happened, for example, with a house a few years ago that took money from the CPA for restoration of a big stained glass window. And as part of that, they agreed to a preservation easement that is sort of it's a nice thing for the preservation because you're sort of getting district level preservation in a sense without them being in a district. I mean, you're familiar with preservation easements and how those work?
Not really. No,
It's
I
sort
mean,
of
no.
like, it's another, you give an organization, I think in most cases, our commission is sort of the enforcement angle of it, but you grant somebody an easement to the historic quality of your house. And you can stipulate what it is. It can be interior stuff, it can be woodwork, it can be the roof. It's all kind of specified. And that follows your deed around. So that can have protection of a property that sort of overlaps with what being in a district would be, except that there's no commission. I mean, it's absolute. Like if you specify that the windows are going to remain forever, there's no commission that would ever approve replacement because it's written in the deed. Anyway,
You got it.
that's
The fact that we're already in that we're already historic, does that play?
I don't know. It would seem like it's redundant, and I
Right.
know we discussed it with the condominium. It became too circuitous. Like, how do you? Because it would have to be every single unit owner, and I think that made it like, well, we can't do that for a condo building. And also, it's been brought up that the enforcement of that easement is stipulated in the agreement, and it's usually the staff or our commission or something. And realistically, would we ever notice? Like, it became sort of onerous to say, okay, is Madison going to go out and visit whatever 54 Vinyl Ave every year to make sure I didn't replace the thing? And so it's in principle it's good, but it's not a little bit not easy to execute sometimes. Anyway,
Okay.
that's the status of that. I think there were a few cases that we needed a little more information on. And also next year, thanks to our recent vote, there's going to be twice as much money in our thing to pass out, which would be nice, because when they poll the community, the historic preservation of the three categories is always the lowest ranking priority. Yet we have the most demands for money. So it's kind of it's this odd contradiction where they say, like, we only get 20% of the money that's allocated, or 15%, I guess. And yet we're the ones that are always like have way more requests than there's money available for. So last couple of years we've been sort of digging into our reserve to fund everything because it's, everybody's project looks good. And hopefully next year that situation gets improved with extra money. And there's some cool open space projects too. It's not really to do with us, but drinking fountains at Nunziato Field, that's going to happen, and they're going to rebuild Quincy Park. The stuff that's falling apart, boardwalks.
Did you accept that budget, or was there pushback on that price tag on that?
For the drinking fountains?
Both projects. I was at that meeting. Those were some big numbers.
It was it's kind of
$300,000 for 2 drinking fountains, I think.
Yeah, I was kind of blown away. And the water has already been brought to the site.
And the drinking fountains for dogs was the concern.
Just
So-
saying. Fountains, $300,000.
Yep.
That seems off by like a 10.
They were literally described as luxury drinking fountains, which I just felt.
Yeah, like you can get some pretty luxury drinking fountain, but
Sounds like toilet seats from Boeing. You hear about those
right.
for a
Right.
$500,000 type of
Soap
thing.
dispensers, right? Exactly.
Actually, for that price, I would kind of hope we could get bathrooms down there. That would be kind of useful.
Yeah.
300,000 would be tight for a bathroom.
All right, well,
But
What if
you
we
could
just
do it.
we should just move the shed down from 42 vinyl?
Well, there you go.
okay. Yeah. Or we could be kind of ironic and make a porta potty with a permanent plumbing inside of it. So you go in there and there's like a flush toilet instead of the usual thing. That would be
That's a
sort of
good art
something.
idea. Yeah,
Postmodern.
exactly.
So I don't know. I saw the number, and we don't really get too into the weeds with that, but I was suspicious of that. And I think what will probably happen is we'll get a lot of money given back to us next year because there is a lot of oversight in the project. So unless the contractors, they don't actually have a bid for this. This is basically based on someone at PSEF or whatever that city organization is like their best estimate for the project cost. So unless they accept some wildly too high bids, which would be surprising since it'll be competitively bid, I hope,
Yeah.
that reality will kick in and we'll suddenly have an extra $100,000 or something to play around with next year.
More than that, if it's really just two drinking fountains, but
Yeah.
speaking of the CPC and expensive stuff, have folks seen Henry Hansen Park that opened?
I've not seen it in person yet. I've driven by it.
Which one's that?
Yeah,
Henry
that's
Hansen Park.
it's the memorial project for one of the initial flag raisers on Iwo Jima. It's at the corner of Medford and Partridge. It's the little sort of pocket park there. I'm very pleased with how it came out. We were the landscape architects on it. I had to do a whole lot of like recusing myself from any discussion that touched on it around here and so forth. And all of that, but yeah, came out really well. And I am told by PSEF that it is now the most expensive park per square foot in the city of Somerville because it was on this huge embankment and needed a whole bunch of like soil retention, and it's just such a small space that all of the cost gets packed into a little teeny spot. I was like, that's an interesting statistic. Okay. But it came out beautiful.
Yeah.
Everyone's happy with it.
I didn't
Louisa
realize that
from-
you worked on that.
Yeah, Luis, well, good. I did a good job of disguising my involvement, so
Huh.
that there weren't any conflicts of interest. Luisa from PSEF, Luisa Oliveira, who's the head of that sub-department, said to me at the opening, she said, I kept bugging the project manager about the cost. How can it be costing this much? How can it be cost? But now I'm here at the opening and I think it's worth it. Nice job.
Yeah.
So it's like, well, good. But,
I
yeah,
think for the
oh, well.
open space, anything is good. Like I kid about the money and I would like it not to cost that much for these things, but the opportunities to create or improve open space in the city are so small. And in theory, the money in the CPC is supposed to traditionally was to acquire open space. If we're like some big suburb somewhere, we don't have anywhere. Someone said at their last meeting that the price of land in Somerville is about $13 million an acre. So it's like we're not. It's realistically we're not going to go out and just gobble up land and make a new park someplace. So I think doing everything we can do to make these little parklets nice and it's money well spent. There is a small, we allocated money towards a open space acquisition fund, so which I think will be up to $800,000 at the end of this year. So it's a tiny amount, but the goal is to have money that can immediately be used if something becomes available. Like let's say there is a house that burned down or something in like Quincy
Oh,
Street.
Symphony Park, for instance, was
right.
initially one
Yeah.
over in East Somerville. Cool.
So that's the story with all that.
A quick Google on outdoor water fountains, like bottle filling station that has also a drinking part of it for people and for pets. So 3 components.
Yeah.
Granted, not installed, not with any of the plumbing or any of the hardscaping around it or whatever. But the thing itself is only $6,000.
Yeah, I mean, by the time you get to the outdoor freeze-resistant models and so forth, you're probably up at like 11,000 installed for the drinking fountain. And then there's the piping to it and water connections. I mean, I could see 2 of them being a $50,000 project. But 300 something else is up on that cost estimate.
I don't know how.
Maybe it's all the soft costs also, and
Is there a place to go see those presentations?
When
or
they
is that-
presented to us, or the
Yeah.
actual.
Yeah, like the Quincy Street project one, and then those, like, or all of them, I guess.
Yeah, they're all.
The CPC have like a place where you can go look at what the proposals were and what was approved?
There have to be. I mean, we saw them, so they're public documents. They're
Right,
out there.
that's what I figured, yeah.
I'm sure if you got in touch with Roberta, she would either send it to you or give you a link or something, because they're out there. I think the problem with Quincy Street was that there was going to be a water fountain originally, and they nixed it. And then there was no, there wasn't. There was they brought the same package over from the Nunziata water fountain. So there was like a line item for water fountains there, but there were no actual water fountains in the scope, but the budget had a $50,000 or something for that. So it was, we just wanted that cleared up. Yeah, I don't know. That's the way of funding that stuff. Otherwise, there's not much on there that's happening. And after these things are voted for, the next few months are pretty lightweight. It's just sitting back and thinking about it. We have some new members. And if anybody here wants to join that commission, I'm just on it because no one else was wanting to do it. But if anybody wants to take that on, let me know. I'm not trying to hog that.
Well, you'll run out of time eventually, right? Anyway,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah, I think I have 2 terms total, and I took over for Dick's. I think he was already into his first one, and that counts as your first term. So if you start the day before their term ends, that's considered a full term. That's the story. Is there anything else? Let me check our agenda, or is that it?
That was
Yeah.
it on the agenda that I had seen.
That could be it.
All right. Well, thank you, everybody.
Thanks. When's our next meeting? Do we know?
Let me pull up the schedule. I know it's in January. I don't
Okay.
know exactly when though.
So not till the new year. Okay, great. What I figured.
A question. We can't deliberate anything new business, but we can get information. Dan, is there anything new from the Summer Nova? Have you been going to all those meetings?
Yeah.
Is there anything new that we can't really discuss, like what we think of it, but that we should know about from that since my last time?
Nothing new. There's still,
Like,
there was a meeting last night. Yeah, nothing new in terms of from a historic preservation perspective in terms of the tube works or anything like that. Those 5 tube works buildings, I think.
okay.
Yeah, I mean, there at one point there was talk about seeing if Summer Nova would buy Milk Row Studios, which is that building that has Milk Row Studios and the market, the India market.
Yep.
But I don't think that was just a suggestion in a meeting. That wasn't Summer Nova saying that or anything like that. So other than that, my understanding is still Summer Nova owns one of those 5 that we had picked out that were part of the tube works that we might want to make a local historic district. And yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I know that people are interested in making those, some people in the city are interested in making those buildings historic. Greg Jenkins, for instance.
Yeah.
So anyway,
All right.
other than that, nothing new.
Well, if there's nothing else to bring up, we could get a motion to adjourn.
Okay, so moved.
All right.
Trying to see if someone else wanted to hop on it.
I have a motion adjourned by Mr. DJ Shagnon. Anybody else want to second that?
I'll second it.
Seconded by Ms. Price. All in favor of adjourning?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ms. Price?
Yes.
Vice Chair Kelly?
Yes.
Mr. Shagnon?
Yes.
Mr. Falvey?
Yes.
Mr. Coughlin?
Yes.
I'll vote yes. So we're adjourned.
Great.
Excellent.
Thank you all.
Folks. Hey, happy holidays, everyone.
Happy holidays,
Yeah.
everybody.
Our
Bye.
next meeting's in January then, right? We said?
Yep, January 7th.
Great.
Okay.
Awesome.
Right.
Thank you.
You all
Bye.
then.
Right,
Bye.
bye everyone.